Good day, good morning, good evening. If you're someplace other than Nassau, Bahamas, I'm Ambassador Renee Johnson, and I live in a beautiful place called the Bahamas. Yes, Ambassador Renee Johnson. I live in a beautiful place called the Bahamas. This is the place where God lives. He only visits other places. This morning, it is wonderful to be with you. I'm here to give you your morning starter, your morning plug-in. And thank you for joining us on Mamlaka Broadcast Network. And I have a topic for you today. And, sometimes we find ourselves stuck, eh? We find ourselves in situations where we don't know if we're going to go left nor right. But guess what? Right is always the right direction to go in. Hey, even if you say left or right, the word right is always the right direction to go in. And so this morning, my topic this morning, I like to say our because this is our topic. I think I'm actually speaking to myself when I'm talking about what I'm about to say every morning. I use exactly what I say to help myself as well. So welcome again to Mamlaka Broadcast Network. I see we have one person on so far. And thank you for tuning in. The topic this morning is shift or be shifted. Move or be moved. You heard me? Shift or be shifted, move or be moved. I know we all have situations in our lives where we're wondering sometimes how we're going to be able to accomplish some things in our lives. But I want to give you the meaning of what shift means. The shift is a slight change in position, direction, or tendency, or move or cause to move from one place to another, especially over a small distance. So that means you don't even have to make big steps. You can make small, incy steps towards what it is you want to go. And however, the shift that I am referring to is the one where we make adjustments. We make a decision to change direction. In other words, we should not allow our personal perception create false narratives. Sometimes we perceive something and we believe something should be the way it is, and we don't get proof. We don't study to show ourselves a proof. So we don't really quite understand, but we perceive something. And so our perception tells us, and it tricks us sometimes, because when you believe in something totally, it's like faith. When you believe something's going to move, when you believe something's going to happen, nothing and no one should be able to cause you to move away from that. I want to remind you in Deuteronomy 2:2, Moses stated that the Lord spoke to him and said, "You have skirted this mountain long enough." How many of you have been in challenging situations long enough, skirting around? He said, "Turn northward." In other words, God had watched them in the wilderness moving along all around the border of the promise. And he was getting ready to have them turn northward to go and inherit the promise, which was Canaan. During this, what we call a divine shift, God told Moses that they needed to turn northward, complete their 40-year journey. That should have only taken 11 days. You could imagine that. How many situations you find in yourself? Because you find yourself in a valley of indecision, indecisiveness. You don't know exactly what to do. And the Lord is saying to you, listen, this thing, this situation, I can resolve this now. But you have not trusted me enough. You have not believed in me enough. You have not prayed to me enough. And you prayed, but you didn't believe again. But in this 40 years, this was for them to find this promise. And in finding this promise, this was also to fulfill the purpose and the plan that he had for the children of Israel. You know what? Sometimes we say, Lord, but I've sinned. I'm a sinner. I've done so much bad things in my life. But these people were relentless. When it comes to bad, these people were bad in my estimation. But despite their sinning and disobedience, the murmuring and complaining, God's mercy and grace allowed them to inherit the promise. They were now, after this 40 years, they were now about to walk into their wealthy place. How many of you have yet to recognize that you're keeping yourself back? Let me give you an example. The other day, one of my teammates and I, she was about to show me something. She was giving me a little lesson. Thank you, Victoria. And in that lesson, she wasn't satisfied with the way the camera made her look. The lighting made her look orange. Then it made it look this way and that way. And she was moving the camera and the lighting around, and she switched it from white to yellow, from orange, and all these different colors. And as she shifted the camera, all of a sudden, everything came to perfection. And she was like, that's what I want. And this is what we're saying. This is what I'm saying to you today. Sometimes we need to shift. In Jeremiah 33:3, it says, call unto me. Call unto me, I will answer thee, and show thee great and mighty things which thou knowest not. See, sometimes we're trying to figure things out on our own. And he's saying, come here, come, Victoria. Move the camera to the left, move it to the right. Come, Priya. Listen, I need you to shift from what you're doing now. But I'm in this with you. And we have to trust the process. There are times when we have to take appropriate actions. We must adjust. Sometimes we must adjust physically, emotionally, and we have to know when to shift. We all, including me, our brains have been cluttered for so many years. I mean, growing up, there was a particular way my mom raised me. And then when I had my children, we want to shift it a bit and we want to move some things, but there are some things that never changed. I want you to know, when we're shifting, we're not shifting away from the Word of God. Just let me make that clear. We're shifting because we've not aligned ourselves with the Word of God. And so we may have, over the years that we've been on this earth, we may have decided to replace some things that should be never replaced. We might want to replace it with some personality changes, the fact that we're in the world and the world says this. But we are mandated to go into the world, into the cosmos, into the systems. But we're supposed to be the light when we go into these systems. And so when we find ourselves cluttered, we need to replace it with words of wisdom. In Philippians 4:13, it says, I can do all things through Christ, which strengthen me. So sometimes when you're afraid to try or to do, in 2 Timothy 1:7, for God had not given us, all of us, a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of sound mind. When that mind is sound, let me tell you something. Make sure it's sound on the Word of God. Don't let it be because of your perception of what you perceive. When you find yourself stuck in the valley of indecision, remember 1 Peter 5:7, cast all of your care upon him, for he cared for you. And who was this who cared for you? His name is Jesus. Let me just explain to you how this works. He has a kingdom, and it operates like this. In this kingdom, as a king, and he's a sovereign God. He is the highest power and authority, having independent authority, or most importantly, he is the authority of the most important kind. In this kingdom, of course, there's a king. And again, in the kingdom, there's a territory. And in this territory, there are citizens like me and you. For me and you, we occupy this territory. And as citizens, we can make demands. We can say to our God through our constitution, because the only way you can make demands now is through your constitution. So when it's time to shift, you have information within that constitution to create for you the right shifting mechanisms. So once you know your rights, you can operate using your privilege. And in this privilege, there's something called a divine shift. So when it's time to shift, it will cause a supernatural advancement, or what you call an upgrade, spiritual, mental, emotional, physical, financial, career, anything you want, your character and your conduct. But because this is a 10-minute plug-in, and I thank you for tuning in this morning, I want to entreat you to this. I want you to repeat after me. Reset. Mindset. So if you have a mind, the word set means it's at one particular setting. So you're going to take this mindset and now you're going to reset it. And in Colossians 3:2, your mind, keep your mind on things above and not only earthly things. So I want to encourage you as I complete. I want you to shift your stinking thinking and reset for progress. Again, it's been my pleasure. Tune in again, share this video. Thank you for tuning into Mamlaka Broadcast Network. Indeed, it's a pleasure and a privilege coming to you. Again, shift or be shifted. Move or be moved. Have a blessed and wonderful day.